Hey guys, how you doing? So, just waiting a little bit more so we can begin. Already, lots of people have joined. Really appreciate that, guys. So, yeah, it's undeniable. It's one hell of a great start to the league season because Valencia away is never easy. We cannot forget that. Does not matter how bad the management of Valencia has been over the years, but it's a fantastic result, guys. And I have to be honest that I will simply jump to my overall expectations to the season if that is okay. So honestly, I don't have many expectations for the season. It's not about Hansi Flick, as it's not about him. It's about how Laporta has managed the club over over the over the past year. So things haven't been good, man. I have to be completely honest. And we have to confess that Real Madrid is so much stronger than us that it's unbelievable. So I think that Mbappe is going to score lots of goals for Real Madrid. Of course, he will. Yeah, it's obvious, but he is going to perform really well for Real Madrid. Maybe not as well as he did in League One for PSG, obviously, but he is going to be key for the club. And Bellingham, of course, he had a poor. I would say that he had a poor Euros aside from that goal, but he's a brilliant player. I really think that he's a generational talent. So I I really think it's inevitable that they're going to win the league again. But we cannot focus on only thinking about winning the league, or we have to focus about competing again, be it in the league, in the cup, and especially in the Champions League, of course. So I will start accepting some requests and see if we can create a good live to talk about the match and the expectations for the season. Yeah, no idea why, so but it's taking a little while for other guys to be added as speakers. So just a second. Oh, even Lourinho is here. It's been a long time, man. We have known each other for, I think, 10 years. Okay. Can you guys hear me? Saud and Jack? Do you have any questions?
Yes, we can.
Okay, let me know if you have any questions. What would you like to say about the game?
No question, if you allow me, Rafa. I would just maybe give you, from my perspective, how did I see the match, and probably it's too early to judge the season for Barcelona. But I would have to agree with you that Madrid looks much more solid than even last season. I wouldn't say that Mbappe is going to be um, the star, but I think he's a good adds up. But for a moment, let's just park discussion on Madrid and focus on our team. I think the only good change that I have seen is the team flexibility to play a different formation than 4-3-3. Uh, this that's number one. Number two is the physiques of, I mean, shape of the players. This is maybe the first time after 15 years I can actually see the team is fully focused for the complete 90 minutes. And I think that's the reason why even at the last 15 minutes of the match, Valencia couldn't actually get the ball out from their side of the field. Well done, and I think let's just not raise the expectation. And I think match by match with some concentration on the away matches, I think we would be in a better shape.
Yeah, I think you make some really valid points. Yeah, it's the fittest that we have looked in a long time because basically the club and of course the coaches and the entire coaching staff have been neglecting the team's physical training a lot over the years. We know for a fact that Xavi's physical and fitness training was really lacking from the leagues. We know that during the Valverde days, it was a joke, and I don't think that Koeman did any better. So it was really positive to actually know and see the clear results on the pitch because I completely agree with you. The improvement on the physique of the players and how they pressed and it's interesting that we actually saw an improvement, especially in the second half, instead of a drop off, because we are so used to seeing the team actually drop off badly in the second half, maybe due to fitness issues, but of course there's statical issues and the right substitutions. But overall, I think that's the big highlight of the match, and it's a very nice observation that you have made. And not only that, but interesting that he basically decided to start Bernal and Casado, which I think was the right choice, of course. And both actually played really well, and this is really positive to see the young players performing. And of course, Kubarsi could have been sent off, and I don't think that we should waste much time discussing if the first yellow was warranted. I don't think it was, but he could have been sent off, but he still played a wonderful match. And this kid, man, I think that in due time he could be the best player that we have at the club alongside Lamine Yamal. So, Adan, Jack, do you have anything to say? Let me know.
Hey, yeah, no, I just wanted to say that I echo a lot of the stuff that you mentioned earlier about the kind of the expectations we have for this season and how much, at least for now, how much stronger Madrid kind of seems at the moment. And yeah, I think it might be too soon to cast aspersions in regards to whether or not we're seeing a huge change here. I think the win here it's very important. Like you mentioned earlier, it's a very difficult playground. You know, historically under all of our even our greatest coaches, it's always been a difficult win there. And yeah, I think it's a good start of the season for now. And yeah, looking forward to see how Barca operates under this new management. And yeah,
Yeah, and overall, I think it's really positive that we started with a win after a very troubled summer. I would say we can't even register Omo yet. Okay, Jack. Yeah, you can speak now.
Yeah, and then I think from my observations, today we played with much intensity. Yeah, and then I think although we can rely on Balde and Kunde for the meantime, we also have to get backups for Balde and then Kunde because if we are being honest to ourselves, with the intensity in La Liga currently, we can't say Hector Fox and Alex Valle would rather be backups to Balde and then Kunde because we have to get much fullbacks who are of more physical strength. That's my observation. Because if you are being honest to ourselves, sometimes mid-season we do get injury in the team, so many injuries in the team. So assuming maybe Kunde is injured, and then you have to play Hetafort against Mbappe, you can imagine the kind of stress we will go through. So I think we have to get backups for the fullbacks. Although we are much focused on the left wing, we have to get backups for either Balde or Kunde, any of them. That's the little observation I made.
Yes, I think you're completely right. We really need though. Actually, we have been in dire need of reliable, 100% natural reliable fullbacks. But I think that Koundé overall has really improved as right back. He's been really good, and I think he can go even further. Okay, let me see. Uh, Let me see. Mikkelsen, do you want to speak? Omar, can you hear me, guys?
Yeah,
Omar,
yeah.
Mikkelsen.
I think I also have another this one observation. For a very long time, I think I've been arguing with you several times when you do criticize our players, especially Ter Stegen. But today, from what I observe, you are truly right. We have to be truthful to ourselves. The Stegen has dropped form for a very long time. You've been criticizing today. I saw it blatantly with my own eyes. So I think we should also give competition to Ter Stegen. There should be instances where
Sell him. What is competition, bro?
yeah, I think we should get another goalkeeper who compete with him at least for any reason, because selling him, Laporta will never do that. We have to get a goalkeeper who compete with him so that he will work harder, because today the first goal I saw that at least he could have avoided it, although Balde refused to mark the player who headed the ball. He could have avoided it. So we have to get a backup who will compete with him. And then one of his qualities, of which we always praise him of, that he can play from the back. That one has even dropped off. Today he was making little mistake in the midfield, which could have cost us. And then this player in particular, Eric Garcia, if he's not well trained for the DM position, we shouldn't be risking him for that DM position, because when there's a break up in the DM position, it's easy to score us. Today, when he came on, he played well though, but he was missing some key this one balls, of which, if I think in any serious team which plays counter attack like Madrid, they can capitalize on it. So if he is not good at playing the DM, he should play at the center back directly. No need to force him to the midfield. That's the little thing I can add up.
Yeah, yeah. So I think that Mikkelsen actually wants to defend Ter Stegen. So I want to hear your thoughts, man. Are you listening? Let me see if he's going to say anything, because I criticize Ter Stegen a lot, and sometimes it's good to hear a few people defending him. But yeah, you made some valid points about him. I have added some more speakers. Just a second. Let me add a few more. Okay. Anyone wants to? Okay, I've added a few more. Do any of you
Yeah.
guys want to defend Ter Stegen?
Rafa, I wouldn't, because I want also to allow the other speakers, but if you allow me.
He's not. He's just so bad. So some time before I used to defend him, but now it's really seems it's getting out of the hand now. Ter Stegen really needs a backup. I think Mamardashvili was a really good option if we wanted for a backup, but we'll see what happens in next transfer window. And another point is second half we were pressing really well till the end. Rafinha was running till his lungs were out. It's really exciting how Frankie De Jong, Gavi will play under Hansi Flick system. It excites me a lot. I'm looking forward to the season.
Okay, keep going, guys. Let
Yeah.
let me
What's
hear
up,
what
Raf?
else you guys have to say.
What's going on, man? I appreciate you having me as a speaker. So, in terms of the game, I think it's definitely a little bit too early to jump to conclusions, about the season. I think Ter Stegen is definitely one of the most inconsistent goalkeepers that we have ever had. You know, he has done his part definitely in the past, but I think we definitely need to sign another goalkeeper to give him some competition. Another thing, Balde just got injured. That's going to be a tough blow. We don't know for how long, and we don't really have another left back. I know Gerard Martin came in. He did a solid job, but I don't know, man. I think we need another left back, and it's just frustrating the situation that the board and Laporta has us in with the registrate. You know, having the not being able to register the players, not being able to play Dani Olmo, Gavi still being injured, Pedri finally being able to play, and then just the rest of the players, man. I think we need a left winger since Nico William is probably officially staying at Bilbao. That's going to be tough. And yeah, depending on how Balde is with his injuries, I think we definitely need a left back too. But I don't know what the situation is with the board, man. We were supposed to get the one-on-one rule where we could sell, sign, sell, sign. Nothing has happened yet. We were supposed to register all the players. Nothing has happened yet. It's frustrating. I'm excited to see flickball, but at the same time, bro, it's like this board is ridiculous, man. Like, yeah, that's all I got to say.
Yeah, I completely agree with you, Aldo, because I have talked to a few people that work at the club, and a few people that I know to be trustworthy that have some know-how about the finances of the club, and both of them basically, it's two people, then a few others that I just messaged and had some insight, but it's mainly one guy at the club and one guy that has have been working with a company that I don't want to give too much details, but kind of work with the club's finances in a few things, and basically both of them told me that they have no idea what's up with the club's finances. That's basically it, and it's unbelievable, man, because we know that we are not at the 1-1 rule. We know completely in on it, of course, because we cannot register OMO, but we should have been at this point, and we are not. And Tebas has gone quiet for a while, at least, or at least he hasn't spoken as much about us as he did in like the past few months. So it's been all very strange. I don't know what's up with the club's finances, but things aren't looking good. But not only that, I would say that the overall management of the club has been very strange, not only at the financial level, but at the sporting level, at the institutional level, and of course at the social media level too. I think that I would say 90 to 95% of us on social media that support Barca are really unhappy with how the social media of the club has been handled. And I know that lots of people actually like to blame Sara for it, but she's not the main responsible. She's not calling the shots on the social media side of the club. So I think it's really unfair to hold her responsible for something that she is not responsible for. Simple as that. And overall, it's a mess at all levels. I'm really disappointed with Laporta's second tenure, but at least we have seen some positives to start the season. Because after the Gamper match, I would say that many people were really pessimistic. I wasn't, pessimistic after the Gamper match because it's just friendly, but we have to take like one step at a time. And this win was the kind of thing that Flick needs to work in peace. Maybe the fact that he still does not understand Spanish perfectly is going to actually help him to not be affected by the criticism and the attacks from the media. It's the Barca sometimes is a joke, man. What a messy club, and we love it so
Bro,
much.
it's too messy, man. And listen, I'm gonna let the other speakers, talk as well. But I just wanted to say, Dani Olmo, fantastic player. I have nothing against him. At his season as at Leipzig, he got injured a couple times. His injuries, kind of questionable. Had an amazing Euros, but I just think that's not the signing we needed, bro. That's not what we needed. That's the last player that we needed on this team. And, obviously everybody might have a different opinion, but I think we needed a left winger, a pivot center defensive midfielder, and a left back. I see Dani Olmo as a signing to help Laporta for the next elections. That's what I see as Dani Olmo as a chess piece almost. He is an amazing player. Don't get me wrong. I don't make sense of why we spent that much money on Dani Olmo. It doesn't fit in my head, man. It just doesn't make sense to me.
Actually, when was the last time we signed a player that we needed?
Exactly, bro. Exactly. That's my point. Like it doesn't make sense, man. Dani Olmo is great. I love him. He's not bad whatsoever. Like he had an amazing Euros, but it's not what we needed. It's not the puzzle that we needed. Last season, we got to the quarterfinals against PSG. We played well. Araujo's red card kind of, that was obviously the reason we lost the game. All right, it happened. We didn't play well in La Liga. This season was supposed to be the season for us to get to that next level with signings. This was supposed to be the season when we could prove to Europe that we would get farther than in quarterfinals. And by just signing Dani Olmo, I just the confidence is not there, man. I feel like if anything, we're backtracking. We're not moving forward.
Yeah, you're completely right. Although we are not moving forward as a club, and of course we know that Bartomeu absolutely ruined things, and the damage done was really badly done, and it could still take. I think I would go as far as saying that we have at least another 5 years to completely recover from Bartomeu if we had a sustainable financial plan and a sustainable economic plan to actually get the club back on track with the debt and everything. So this really has weakened us. And man, the I would say the loss against PSG at home was really painful because that kind of set the club back so much and basically reminded us of all of the problems that we have been having because the league season that we won with Xavi, I would say that one we had many positives, but we also saw the bad signs, the red flags, and then the following season happened with Xavi. He got renewed unnecessarily, and I said it at the time that he shouldn't have been renewed. We saw many bad signs, but I don't think that Laporta has the right people actually advising him. At He had Cruyff in the past, and sadly Cruyff isn't here with us anymore. And he had better advisors. He brought some good people to the club, but then they left. I think that Heverter is a good example. We Alemany too, and Jordi Cruyff too. And it's a mess, man, at all levels. And sometimes we feel that we just cannot grow grow as a club because every time we try to do something right, something bad happens, and then we take two steps back and start to collapse onto itself. And we have never been a club that based our whole strategy around Hamadry, and we have to get to a point where we need to stop caring about what they do because we cannot change what they do, and they are in a insanely stronger position than we have. And if we keep trying to focus on other clubs and not on ourselves, we are going to be in trouble, man. But one hope that I really have for the club's future is the new Camp Nou, man. Things have been looking so good; it's incredible.
You know what is frustrating, Rafa, is when you are talking about Bartomeu previous board and how did they damage the club. They have left 3 years ago, if not more, and we have got this stupid guy with his board. I'm sorry for those who supports Laporta, but I think over the last 20 years there was no good board that have actually chaired Barcelona. But let me ask you a question, since you're I follow you, and you're a bit close, and I get some of your interesting inputs about the club. A guy who has now been cheering Barcelona for 3 years knew, at least let's take last year, knew that he wouldn't get into a one-to-one unless he actually sells and get rid of some of the players. Here we are today, the first match of Barcelona, yet him and his board are not able to sell or, I don't know, register a player. Tell me, what sort of a board is this? When you knew from last year that last year is sort of a rebuild, nobody actually was asking for titles and whatever for the last 3 seasons. We all knew, although we would love to, but we all knew, touching the ground and reality, that this is not a team that would actually get you a title, a Champions League, and compete with the top European 5 teams. But we were hoping that somebody, apart from the football side that the players play, somebody at the board will actually manage all this. I'm sorry for my language, all this shitty situation financially. For the last whatever years, have he not been working on getting rid of some players? I mean, for God's sake, Victor Ruki, can somebody just tell me why would he sign him? It's just incredible that how does Laporta gets into the first match of Barcelona for this season, yet he cannot even sign Dani Olmo. And now, just before the match, we hear some rumors about Gundogan leaving. So I'm not sure what is he doing, to be honest.
Yeah, man. I I don't think that anyone does, even those at the club, because things have been so erratic. And I would say that the biggest problem that the club has right now, even more than the financial troubles or the leaks, man. Every time there is some new kind of bullshit that comes out about the club, and it destabilizes the whole club. And of course, we know that some of it is true, some of it is not, and there's a big media industry surrounding the club. But Barcelona under Laporta needs to learn to do things quietly, because it's been such a mess. If this is true about Gundogan, man, we have failed as a club, because I would say that he was the best performer for the club last season. I think he was incredible, and he kind of flew under the radar. And City actually suffered a lot without Gundogan, and they could have used him a lot last season, and they couldn't, of course, because he joined us. But I would go as far as saying that if Gundogan leaves right now, which I doubt, because he is under a lot of money, Manchester City would do well to get him back for another year, because he would be really helpful. And of course, we have seen the kind of mentality that Gundogan has showed on pitch, and many times he does not accept mediocrity, because he was operating at the highest level possible at Manchester City, and then he comes to Barcelona and he wants to win here as much as he did at City, and he couldn't do it. And I think that frustrates him immensely. But I absolutely doubt that he would like to leave the club. And we keep having these rumors: Gundogan could leave, Rafinha could leave, and I don't think that the circus that was mounted around Frankie De Jong leaving, not last year in 2022, and then there was some threats that he was going to sue the club, and the union in the Netherlands, was the footballers union in the Netherlands, going to sue us, all that kind of noise. And then you have other clubs, other of the biggest clubs in the world, uh, doing the same to push players out, and there's no backlash. So you see that there's been a circus around the club, and the noise needs to be died down. And things need to be done quietly, because we saw like the Conor Gallagher situation with Chelsea and Atletico Madrid has been a mess, and yet you don't see the drama that was Frank De Jong. So if you want to push De Jong out, which I would do, and I know that at least half of you on the space would disagree, if we wanted to push Frankie De Jong out, we should just push him to play with the reserves or the kids, or just stop playing here, And if he's okay with it, because he's the, I would say that he is the highest paid footballer in Spain. So it's unbelievable. Yeah, part of it is because of the deferred wages, but he only chose us ahead of PSG because Bartomeu offered more money. We know that for a fact, right? And then we have the situation that everything has to be a drama around the club. It doesn't have to be this way. And Laporta in the past sh she did show at times a lot of strength and decisiveness, and he's lacking that. He's completely adrift in his second tenure. And one thing that I would definitely do is what I think Jack said, that we need at least a competent backup for Ter Stegen, which we don't have. We had Silicen in the past, and he was incredible for us. And he needs competition. If the club doesn't want to ship him out, at least get someone to compete him for the top spots. We saw I think that people really underestimated how how much of an impact a reliable backup goalkeeper can do, because Ortega signed for Manchester City, and then Ederson had an immediate improvement on his performances, and he did so well that they got to treble. So, and then you have the Real Madrid situation. Courtois was out for the season, and Lunin was actually incredible for them especially in the Champions League. So, we need a, we need this kind of sensible, obvious decisions, obvious good sense that we are not seeing with the Laporta tenure. It's really complicated.
Yeah, I don't understand why. Going back to the point of selling the players that we have to sell, I just don't understand why we can't just do what we need to do to sell them. Ferran Torres, Frankie De Jong, maybe some of you guys like them. I personally don't think they should be at the club anymore. There's a couple others, but I don't know, man. This whole situation is just frustrating, and seeing Madrid win season after season is killing me, bro. My older brother is a Madridista. My cousin is a Madridista, and I can't take it anymore, man. They excuse my French, but they fuck with me way too much, and I can't take it. I something has to fucking change, man.
Yeah, you said that we cannot stand Real Madrid winning anymore, and you have it really bad, because at least I don't have any family or close friends to me that are diehard Real Madrid fans. So I really got to the point where they win the league, or they win the Champions League, and I really don't care anymore, because at least I don't have anyone screaming in my face at a personal level. But it's, I don't know, man. I think that of course, I understand your situation, but at a general level, I think that we as a club need to look inside and sort out our trouble and get back into line, man. And if we do that, we would get back to winning leagues and get back to winning the Champions League again. And I don't see it happening, man. Honestly, I think that the whole of the Laporta tenure, the I know, of course, the 6 years aren't over yet, but I really think it's a write-off by now. He really has disappointed. Okay, so Cyril wants to speak up.
Hey, Rafa, thanks a lot for letting me speak. So, I personally think the best signing that Laporta did was bringing Matteo Alemany back into the management. Like, we had pretty good transfers and everything. And I'm not sure why he had to let him go, because he was one of the most sensible sporting directors that we ever had. And right now, my hope is that Deco doesn't spend any more millions on some random player in the last week of the transfer window, just to tell everyone that we did incredible business. I don't mind if he can get maybe Common on loan, because Flick knows the player very well. But again, I have heard that he's on huge salary, so I don't think that's going to happen. Then the only thing that gives me hope is La Masia, man. The mess that we are in, only La Masia kids can help us get back to where we are. We have good kids, they know they love the club more than us. And at this point, I don't even care if Araujo decides to leave, because I don't think he has been a good professional, especially in this transfer window. I like the player, but he wasn't able to he wasn't able to take the criticism in the proper way, like in a good club like us, and especially when someone like Gundogan speaks, and Araujo being a young player, in order to get to become a better player, he should have taken that in a positive way, but he didn't. So I think he's going to end up leaving at some point. But other than that, like, I trust the kids, and they are the only ones that can take us back to where we were. Thank you.
Yeah, I completely agree with you, Cyril, because at a personal level, for me, I would say that I actually celebrate the La Masia kids breaking through more than I celebrate the club winning titles. Of course, we haven't touched the Champions League. The Champions League would be a different story. But for me, like Yamal breaking through and, Kubarsi, and now we have Bernal. And man, it's incredible to see the kids breaking through because it's as you said, they live the club, they have dreams, and they love it. And regarding Araujo, I would say the same. If it's true that Bayern wanted him for 100 million, it's a shame that he got injured because we could have sold him and be stable, maybe bought another center back, a younger center back. And overall, I would say that we have had many misfortunes over the years too. The kind of bad luck that we have had as a club over the past like 5 years is incredible, man. I would say that the pain surrounding Anfield still remains.
Yeah, Rafa, thanks for letting me speak.
Okay, Kule, you can speak.
Yeah, right. You can hear me, right? Everything's fine?
Anyone else wants to speak? Manvir, you
Can you
can
hear
speak
me?
if you want. Sako, you can speak too.
Yes, there's a person speaking. Kule of one. Yes, we can hear you.
Oh, okay, okay. Yeah, that's fine. Yeah, I just wanted to say that, we're talking
Yeah,
about these.
actually, I cannot hear him. I don't know why.
No, I hear him. I hear him normally.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
hear
we
him.
can hear him, Rafa. I think you've
All
got a
right, then
problem.
I'll just continue. So yeah, so while we're
Yeah,
talking about
it's
these
it's
like
it's really odd.
minuscule
Okay,
details
so
of
I will
choosing
let
this
him speak.
player
I'll let
or
him speak. You guys just tell me when he stops
choosing this
speaking
player or
because
that
I
player,
would say if everyone else can
making
hear
this
him, no
change
problem.
in management or not. I think the only thing that really has to change is the president, because he controls everything. I think his tenure has proven that he is not fit to be president. Obviously, him following on from Bartomeu, anything is an improvement. I mean, he looks like an angel compared to Bartomeu, but that's not saying anything, obviously. So first of all, we have to ensure that the president changes. And look, I think this may sound a bit outlandish, but I think we should all gather together and use all of our fan power, digital and whatsoever, local even, to get Leo Messi to run for the presidency, because this club cannot be managed by these random politicians who just keep turning up and producing garbage, every 5 years. We have to have, a rich Kool-Aid. Who better to lead the club than Leo Messi? I think all the people with hundreds and thousands of followers, they all sort of need to band together, get a hashtag going. Hopefully Messi retires by 2026, which I think is the next election year. Um, so we can just get him to challenge for the presidency and save us, because I think I'm not even being hyperbolic when I say this, that we are actually closer to doing everything wrong rather than doing everything right. So it's not even like we're just following roughly falling short, but we're actually closer to the worst possible outcome than we are to the best possible outcome. That's how badly we're being done.
Yeah. Hey guys, let me see if it's working
Yeah,
now.
so shortly, Rafa, in a brief, Sako was asking for Messi to come as a president instead of
It's
Laporta?
not. It's not Sacco. It's not. It was not Sacco.
It was Kulev one.
Okay,
It
yeah,
was
sorry.
Can I talk?
Kule of 10 years. I guess his name is Alan.
Yes,
Yeah, anyway, so in a short, he was asking for Messi to come as a president because Laporta looked like an angel to Bartomeu, but it did not work out. So he's asking for a social media hashtag, probably starting from here and until Spain to get Messi back. Which my personal opinion is a no, but I will leave that up to you to manage the conversation, Rafa. Over to you.
yeah, man. I really don't think that's possible, man. Messi is not going to return to Barca anytime soon. We need to completely forget that possibility as a player. And I would say that what I think that could happen is like a testimonial match for him or something like that.
No, no. He
But
was suggesting Messi should be the president. I guess.
oh,
I
yeah,
guess.
yeah, yeah. So yeah, Messi could never be the president of Barcelona. He already did too much for us, man. I don't want to ask any more from Messi. Just leave him. Just leave him alone. Like enjoying the good life in Miami for a little bit. Yeah. So Hassan and Adan wants to speak too.
Hey, I hope you're all doing well, and I hope you can hear me. So if you can hear me, just let me know.
Yeah, I can.
Okay, great. So I understand all the criticism around all the players like Ter Stegen and Ferran Torres and De Jong, but what really frustrates me is a player like Rafinha. I don't know if you really um, see it the way I see it, but I see him as a very not good player. And what really frustrates me, I can speak English, frustrates me is that nobody talks about it. He's a bad ball carrier, bad 1v1er, bad passer, and I've checked the stats for today's game. He lost possession the most in the game, 20 times. Like, he really does it every game. He loses possession really easily. And the second most player was Bernal, I guess, and it was 13. And I really want to hear your opinion about Rafinha. Like, is it just me who sees him like a bad player, like not someone who deserves to play for this club, or it's a popular opinion? So I would really like to know what do you think about him, and thank you a lot for letting me speak.
Yeah, you're welcome, man. No problem. So Rafinha is a difficult player to speak because if he had been signed by us for like 20 million, I think that we would be way more kind when talking about him, but he was signed for a fortune, and then his agent became our sporting director. So it's a little bit of a mess. It's much like the Vitor Roque signing. Why he was signed if Xavi didn't want him, and then Flick apparently does not rate him, and then apparently like Wesson was trying to sign him, and there clubs from Saudi Arabia was trying to. It's all very poorly managed, but I would say that Rafinha could be a good backup player for us, but he's definitely not started quality for me. Absolutely not, man. And overall, I think that how can Rafinha even leave the club when his agent, let's be honest, it's still his agent, is like the sporting director right now. It's a mess, man. And this is the kind of thing that the club could never allow it to happen. And overall, it's Rafinha is just another like messy signing. He was signed for way too much money, and he was never that good. And we had rumors other like English clubs wanted him. I don't know if it's true or not, but I think that he's going to stick around for a long time. And one thing that I don't like about Rafinha is that he keeps going and collecting receipts on social media. So when you criticize him, sometimes he's going to go to your post in a later date when he has a good match and maybe leave an emoji or a comment. He has done this with me on Instagram. He has done this with other people too. And I really think that shows a little bit of insecurity on his part. He should not do this. And okay, so Manvir wants to speak. You can speak, man.
Hey, hello. Yeah, I wanted to ask about Ter Stegen. How did he manage all these years, shitty day by day at the club like Barcelona? And the second, I would like to ask why there is no accountability with the Barca management. They say something, and a few days later, something else happens. Why nobody's questioning them? And if they are questioning, why we are not getting those things? That's all, buddy. Thank you all.
Yeah, man, I don't think there's any culture of accountability in the club right now. It's an absolute mess. And not only that, and you have again about Ter Stegen, I really think that it's not that he's a bad goalkeeper, but he has gotten comfortable in his position and now he's the club captain. There's no pressure for him to perform. Of course, he had that legendary season in the league for us. He almost broke our records. But overall, I don't think there's any competitive pressure for him. And you know that at another club, like if Ter Stegen was a player for Real Madrid, or for, I don't know, PSG or Manchester City or Liverpool, he would be slaughtered by the fan base, and he wouldn't be at the club. And that's the kind of difference that we have with another clubs. I think that we Barcelona as a club and even part of the fan base are just too prone to accepting too many mistakes and even accepting mediocrity from the players. This kind of thing that Sergio Roberto just left Barcelona, and of course I was really happy about it. But then, how can we even call this guy a legend? He's not a Barcelona legend. He was an okay player that served as a backup for the club for many years. He scored that legendary goal versus PSG, that run versus Real Madrid. But that's all. Where is he a legend? And Barcelona is kind of warped in that sense because we had players that were legends for the club that left through the back door, and then we have like Sergio Roberto in a massive press conference in a tearful farewell, and it's just deeply wrong that the club does things as they do right now. And it hasn't changed with Laporta. We have many of the same flaws we had with Bartomeu.
But that's exactly it. It tells you how corrupted is the situation in the at the board when you have Sergio Roberto leaving in the most massive. It's just like comparable to what they did to Messi, and some other good players moving from the back door. Um, but that's how it is. And in terms of accountability, I think there is nothing much we can do as fans, but there is a lot of uh, things that the members of the let's say the club can do. There is always this trust block that they can activate. They've done it before, it worked out, and I think anyone is gonna be better than Laporta, at least from the way I see it. You know, I don't forget what the first tenor Laporta did with his team, but I still believe, as Rafa said, he had a better, consultation from the people around him. I think now he's even doesn't want to have people who says no to him. Uh, I don't know why Deco all of a sudden becomes the director for Barcelona, just like Abidal did that. So this this position in any respected top 10 club in the world is something that has got a specific profile, not only a previous player in the club. It just also tells you how corrupted is the situation regarding Rafinha and Deco, right? I mean, Rafa concluded very well. He is the agent and he is the director sitting in the board. I would have to leave Rafa, but I would just say what do I feel about what do I feel about Ter Stegen and the wave of criticism. See, to me, I see it differently. I cannot blame any of the players. For the last 10 years, we never had a good coach, starting from whoever until we actually reach this. Just maybe I would tilt to Luis Enrique after Pep Guardiola. The rest is just trash, including Koeman, including Xavi, including everybody. It's just trash. This club has not got any, uh, you know, uh, proper coach, proper manager, a world class. You're talking about Barcelona. You're not talking about, everybody is just gonna be like Pep. Let's just test him and then it might work out. No, it won't work out. And the situation now, why I am actually sad and it's really very disappointing is that when you have a, a world class coach like Flick, you actually have mediocre players and you have one of the worst board, a board that actually, as Rafa specifically said, a board that looks how Perez is doing and what Perez is doing, and we want to actually, follow them or compete with them, forgetting what's actually the priorities of the club. The priorities of the club were never to sign players. The priority of the club was building the Camp Nou. Number two, getting rid for God's sake, for the last 3 years, we're trying to get into 1-2-1. Any average board would have actually got it in any other club. But Laporta and his board members are not, free to manage this. They are looking for what others are doing. They are looking how to fight, how to, sack people. Like, who would on earth let get rid of Peter Liamani and then bring Deco? So that tells you how, unfortunately, is the club corrupted at the board.
So I just have a quick question for you, Raf. I've been following you since the, I think it was the 2014 or 15 election. Who do you think, if Laporta is not the right option right now, who do you think is the best option for the next elections? I don't think you're going to say Victor Font, but I would love to hear your opinion.
Okay, so thanks, Aldo, and thanks, Saud, for your words. And of course, I will answer your question, Aldo, and then I have to go to because I completely forgot that I have a dinner in like 20 minutes, and then I need to go out, basically race to the shopping mall. So, and Saud, thanks for
Rafa,
your words,
promise
man. I
us
I completely.
we we need to do this more often before you leave.
Oh yes, absolutely. I actually messaged Barca Spaces for us to organize things a little bit better. I need to start like ripping this kind of discussions and start to throwing them on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube too. I need to be more active, like more in a speaker sense, because at a personal level, guys, I have to confess that since Anfield, my relationship with football has been changed, Of course, Messi won everything and that healed my soul, but I of course, I love football as much as I did back then, but I have I wouldn't say, yeah, I would say that I have less emotional investment in football because it hurt me so much. And I think that's the case for many people who listen here.
It's been a
And
disgusting
overall,
journey, right?
yeah, absolutely, man. But I really think that Messi winning the World Cup actually saved our football lives,
Yep.
Everyone here is going to agree with that.
Yes, yes.
Everyone. So now to cap things off, who I think that would be ideal for the to become the next Barca president, and it's too soon to say what other candidates there would be. We know that Victor Font is going to run, and I have talked many times, sometimes for hours, with Victor Font, and he told me a few things. He had some great ideas, and he was proven right in many things. And looking back at a few things that I talked to him during the last presidential campaign, he was actually proven right with a lot. So Victor would be someone from the outside, uh, without the support of the media, and the usual Barca establishment. So maybe right now I would say that he would be not ideal, but the best guy that comes to mind, because we don't have many qualified people to become Barca presidents. We don't know what's which person would be the best, because it's not that simple. You just need so many qualities to run a club like Barcelona. It's unbelievable, guys. I think that it's the hardest club in the world to actually be a president of. Many, I don't think any of you would disagree. Any Barca fan would disagree, really. Maybe any football fan. And there's no real solution. One thing that happened with Real Madrid, which I think that many people need to understand, is that Florentino Perez is one of the most powerful people in Spain and maybe Europe, and his influence at all levels of the Spanish society is unbelievable. So the guy just basically decided to become the Real Madrid president. So he uses his influence with political influence at all levels, and he basically runs like Real Madrid like a massive corporation, which they are, of course. But if you take like it's a corporation with over 100 years of age, much like Barca, and it's located in the capital of Spain. So he has so many more advantages and more power than any Barcelona president could ever had. So we need someone, as I said before during the space, that looks inwards. So we Barcelona as a club need to focus on La Masia. We need to focus to being at our best, and of course, being supporting the international fan base a lot more, which I really still think that Barcelona does not support enough of its international community. It's something that Victor Font and I have talked a lot about in the past. That we, everyone outside of Spain that supports Barca, could be someone that could contribute financially to the club, not directly like donating money, but like subscribing to some kind of service at a cheap value. I'm not thinking about. Of course, you give like $50 per month to Barca. No, something like a small sum or something, some kind of advertising plan. Some kind of thing that could actually bring a lot of more of money to the club. So Barca needs to be a club that innovates and seeks to do things different from Real Madrid, because they have done historically as well as they have, because they do things that Barca will never be able to do. So we know the strengths of Barcelona as a club. So that's what we need from the next president, to actually focus on the club as a whole, forget about Real Madrid, and just be stable. If Barca, I don't think I think it's actually impossible for Barca to be a stable club, but we at least can be a club that can go back to being adored, by the world, and doing things differently. We can go back to that. Because it's what made me fall in love with Barca. It's not about the titles, but like the club is different, and we can. And this kind of sounds badly when I say it, but we need to get back to our roots, of our values, and sell that to the world, because it's honest. It was honest in the past. I don't think it is anymore. I think that we lost much of our identity, and we need to start doing things very different in the future if we are to regain the prestige and the respect that we had from the footballing world. I would say from the whole world. And it's really painful to see the club in this situation. Guys, I would love to keep speaking for like another hour, but I really need to go. I apologize, but I'm already late there, and I will try to do this at least every time after a Barcelona match so we can keep talking. It was a pleasure talking to you guys.
Thank you
Thanks a
very
lot for
much.
listening.
Thank you, Raf. Have a good night, man.
Thanks, guys. Take care.